work with people who carry the weight of the world and everyone else on their shoulders every day. And what I'm seeing more and more is what they're experiencing goes beyond burnout. Most people think I am burning out. And this raises an unsettling question. Is this burnout or am I losing who I am? By the end of this video, you'll understand which one you're facing and how to begin coming home to yourself. Most people think they're burned out, but if rest doesn't work for you, it's usually something else. Burnout comes from overworking, having too many tasks to do, feeling exhausted and depleted. And what helps with that? Usually stepping away, setting boundaries, and or slowing down. Identity loss, on the other hand, is a deeper disconnection from who you are, not just what you do. I remember several years ago, I made a post on social media on Mother's Day because I hold a lot of mom identities. And I talked about how I'm an adoptive mom. I'm a mom with a kid with disabilities. I was a bereaved mom. And sometimes I just felt like there's so many titles around mom, and I just wanted to be a mom. Can I just be a mom? And yes, sometimes those titles are helpful when you're looking for other people similar to you that get you and understand you. And also sometimes I just wanted to say, I'm a mom. And all of those extra things alongside of mom didn't really matter that much. And sometimes I just wanted to be me. I wanted to be the loud, passionate, fun, and caring person that I am. So think about it this way. Burnout is about what you do, whereas losing yourself is about no longer having access to who you are. So why does this happen so often to people like you that are the most compassionate people? People like you who are suffering from what feels like burnout may actually be suffering from something called compassion fatigue or vicarious trauma. And these don't just drain you, they redefine you. The people most at risk are the people like you who are helping others and who are very empathetic and care the most. That loss of compassion through compassion fatigue makes you question, if I'm not this, who am I? If I'm not a caretaker, who am I? You are not just tired, you may be in an identity crisis. So let's make this practical. How can you tell if it is quote unquote just burnout, which is also something that is challenging in and of itself? Before I share, if you're struggling with anything that I'm talking about today, I put together a 7-day challenge that can help you just snap right out of it. It's free and you can get it in the description of this video. So there are 3 signs that point to you being beyond burnout into a full-blown identity loss. Oftentimes, rest doesn't necessarily restore you, and you may still feel hollow, like you're missing something, that passion isn't there anymore. You might feel guilty doing something that doesn't serve someone else. For instance, maybe going for a walk by yourself, maybe getting a massage or doing something that cares for yourself. It may even be pausing to look up at the sky. I was leading trauma sensitive yoga at a retreat a year ago, and at the end of it, we were doing some reflection. And one common theme that came up was many people saying, I don't know the last time I laid on my back and looked up at the clouds in the sky. I remember doing that as children because as children, we're just being our authentic selves. And when you can just be yourself and not feel guilty doing that, that is super powerful. And that's how you're able to continue to prioritize yourself and power your mission, especially for those of you that are passionate about the mission. Another sign that points to being beyond burnout and into a full-blown identity loss is you can't describe yourself without referencing your mission or your titles. So this might be saying, oh, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a executive director, and those things are great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's so much more to you than what you do and these titles that you are given. Like the hobbies that you have. What are things that you like? What's your favorite color? What's your least favorite color? What's your favorite food? What do you like to do when you're not doing? And I just had a session with a client and we were talking about hobbies. And she was talking about how she's in this phase of her life now where she actually has more opportunity to explore hobbies again and be in her joy. And it was so fun to explore these things and work with her on how do you explore these things. So if this sounds familiar, it's not about taking a break, even though that can be helpful. It's about finding your way back to who you are. So how do we combat compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma? For the most part, burnout can be fixed with boundaries and taking tasks off your plate. Identity loss, on the other hand, requires exploration, embodiment, and an evolution of maybe rediscovering who you are. This is the deeper work, rediscovering yourself as a human being, not as a human doing. The path forward involves grounding, boundary setting, and embodiment. This is what TCTSY, Trauma Center, Trauma Sensitive Yoga, is all about. This is not a practice about movement and poses and being perfect. It's a practice of slowing down, noticing your body, which is something we are taught to ignore as we're getting older, and deciding what you want to do with what you're noticing. And to quote Bhagavad Gita, also known as the Gita, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. That is one of my absolute favorite quotes, and it's my reminder every day that I'm not broken and you're not broken. You might just be buried, and it's time to return to yourself. Earlier, I mentioned compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma, and understanding which we are facing can be the first step to healing. If you click on the video on the screen right now, I go deeper into those two topics. Always remember, it's important to prioritize yourself and power your mission because you are worth it.